What's up guys, it's Tom here, and once again we have to talk about Manchester City because Jamie Carragher brandished this ongoing investigation as an embarrassment, and Man City's success is an embarrassment for the Premier League, that they started their investigation in 2018 and we are still no closer to a resolution, and that puts into question everything that Pep Guardiola did at Manchester City. He's about to win his sixth title in 7 years, and Man City are about to become the first side in English football history to win 4 league titles in a row. Not even Liverpool in the 80s or Man United in the 2000s could do it, to win 4 league titles in a row. And I fully agree with Jamie Carragher that the Premier League investigation should have concluded years ago, but because Man City are probably guilty, they are trying to obstruct and hinder and delay the investigation at every possible legal hurdle they are putting into the path of the investigation. And if the Man City are innocent, and if they had any respect for themselves, they would try to help the investigation be concluded, because this doesn't look good for Pep Guardiola. This doesn't look good for Manchester City. Their PR is an absolute disaster. Manchester City's image is an absolute disaster. It's down in the trash. It's down in the gutter. Because of this, everybody is questioning Manchester City's success, and because they broke so many rules, allegedly. And Jamie Carragher said that Man City can't escape the allegations. He wrote a brilliant article in a newspaper basically questioning whether Man City should be regarded as this greatest team in English football or the Premier League history because of the 115 charges against them. And Man City are charged with so many charges, so many rule breaches, so many rule breaks. It has created an absolute legal minefield. And also Man City delaying and obstructing the investigation. Literally, they have taken 3 years, and they haven't provided for 3 years the necessary information and necessary documents that the Premier League requested from Manchester City. The Premier League rules state that the Premier League can request any documentation, any kind of contract, any legal documents, and any information they can request from any club if they are investigating that club. And Man City literally haven't given them for 3 years anything. They just tried to find any loophole with their incredibly expensive lawyers. And Man City, who are not afraid to say to UEFA, we will hire the 50 of the most expensive lawyers and we will sue UEFA into bankruptcy. That's what they literally said to UEFA. Do you think that an organization like this, or a leader of an organization, a leader of the club of Man City, if he's not afraid to sue UEFA into bankruptcy, do you think he's afraid of bribing referees? Do you think he's afraid of corruption in the Premier League? No, of course not. If he's not afraid of suing UEFA instead of, providing evidence that they are innocent, which they claim to be, yet they haven't provided any evidence that they are innocent to the Premier League. And Manchester City basically fast-tracked themselves to the summit of English and European football. They spent an almost unlimited amount of money, an obscene amount of money in the first 10 years. From 2009 until 2018, they broke so many rules that 115 charges have been labeled against them by the Premier League. And Jamie Carragher is saying that Man City takes a lot of displeasure in this being referenced, especially when they are the threshold of more success. They know the time taken to deal with this matter is an embarrassment for them and the Premier League. So that this investigation has been going on for 6 years is an embarrassment to Man City, it's an embarrassment to the Premier League, and it questions the integrity of the whole league, it questions the integrity of the Premier League, and it's an absolute joke to all the fans who are watching the Premier League that they have let this run for so long without a conclusion. And the charge sheet against Man City is so huge, it has created a legal minefield with Manchester City disputing each allegation. But what's more troubling is that instead of Man City providing all the necessary documentation as quickly as possible, because, you know, in a normal circumstance, when a company or a club is charged with a crime, they want to clear their name as fast as possible. They want to get the investigation sorted as fast as possible. They want to provide every single proof that they have that they are innocent to the investigators, so their name gets cleared as quickly as possible. But Man City have not once complained that the investigation is taking so long. In fact, they are the reason why this is taking so long. They have obstructed and delayed with legal procedures and legal hurdles put in front of the investigation at every single possibility. If they are innocent, why not just clear their name? Why not clear Guardiola's name? Because Guardiola, no matter how many titles and trophies he wins at Man City, he will always be labeled as a manager who got there by cheating. And even by cheating, he could only win one Champions League title in like 8 seasons. And that is also an embarrassment for Guardiola and for Manchester City, that Jurgen Klopp has qualified for 3 Champions League finals with a Liverpool side on a half of the budget of the Man City side, and Jurgen Klopp made more Champions League finals in his time at Liverpool than Guardiola did at Manchester City. And Jamie Carragher is questioning the owners of Man City as well. He said, "I would love to know how Man City's owners or those advising them feel about the issue dragging on, and why the team prepares to win its 4th consecutive Premier League title on the back of last year winning the treble. Man City owners must know that this is a public relations disaster. This is a PR disaster for them. Their reputation is down in the mud, down in the gutter. Guardiola should be celebrated for his genius by neutrals as well as Man City fans, but whether he and his club likes it or not, Man City will never escape the shadow of those allegations until they are dealt with and until they are properly investigated, until this whole investigation reaches a conclusion and Man City get properly punished and dealt with. The years of legal wrangling still preventing Man City from clearing its name. Guardiola has to clear his name. But it's Man City themselves who are delaying this process, which doesn't make sense if they are innocent, but if they are guilty, they want to drag this out as long as possible. And Jamie Carragher raises a good point. This is what troubles me and baffles me around the whole affair. When accusations are made against any individuals or organizations, companies, institutions who have absolute certainty that they are innocent, you would usually expect the demand of those involved to arrange a hearing at the earliest opportunity. Where is the statement from Man City expressing frustration or anger, fury that the process is taking so long? Man City have not put out any statement why the process is taking so long, because they are the reason. Kicking the can down the road means too many insults are being directed at a brilliant manager like Bob Guardiola and his extraordinary team, but assembled illegally, spending funds that they didn't have, inflating artificially sponsorship deals, revenues, getting fake sponsors. And of course, Guardiola didn't arrive at Man City when these allegations started. He arrived at Man City a lot of years later, but Guardiola keeps benefiting from Man City cheating their way to the top and also financially doping their way to becoming this really big, commercially big club. They are not a big club in terms of, reputation or trophies or titles, because most of their trophies that they have won illegally against the rules. And Jamie Carragher makes a good point that Guardiola maybe deserves better than lifting his 6th Premier League title under such a cloud, under such massive allegations. As a manager, a coaching and technical staff, Man City should be acclaimed for being one of the best football teams there has ever been, but instead they are labeled as cheaters, as frauds, as their integrity is questioned. And Jamie Carragher is asking, as a club, the jury is still out on Man City. We have to waited too long for a jury or a Premier League commission to even begin to consider that verdict. And you know what is also troubling me? Guardiola was caught taking performance enhancing drugs as a player. He actually got banned for using illegal drugs when he was playing for Barcelona. So if Guardiola is not afraid to cheat when he was a player, he's definitely not afraid to cheat as a manager. So him saying that he doesn't really know what goes on behind the scenes, I find that really hard to believe. But there is a possibility that the owners, of course, didn't tell him everything. And I think if Man City will be found guilty and if they will they will relegate them to Championship or non-league football, then Guardiola will probably leave Man City. Otherwise, his name will be dragged down in the mud with Manchester City's name as well. But I think Guardiola's name already is pretty much tarnished and labeled as, complicit in this whole affair. And I really am hoping that more pundits, more journalists and more big TV stations will speak out against Man City, and they have to and they should mention more often the 115 charges, because sometimes Man City's games are analyzed and their performances are praised without even mentioning the 115 charges. And that's what the Man City owners wanted all along. They wanted as many fans as possible to clear their name, to sports wash their image. Because the more fans Man City has, the more fans will defend the United Arab Emirates and their awful image in the world. Because that's how sports washing works. And Jamie Carragher also is not really correct in that, yes, other clubs have spent a lot of money as well and they didn't have as much success as Man City. That's true, but Man City's success was built upon the fast tracking that they did to get to the top. And Guardiola can now cherry pick from the best players available each transfer window, and he can drop £50 million on a player that is sitting on the bench. He has Jack Grealish for £100 million. And he's a squad player. He's not a starting 11 player at Man City. He's not in their best 11. He doesn't usually start even when he is fit. And he cost £100 million. Which other club can spend £100 million on a player and then that player doesn't even start for them? Don't tell me Eden Hazard, because Hazard was in his prime at Chelsea. He went to Real Madrid for 100 million and then he fell off a cliff. But Jack Grealish, he wasn't worth 100 million even when he was bought for 100 million. But still, which club has a bench worth 250-300 million pounds? Most of the Premier League's whole team, most of Premier League clubs' whole team is not worth 300 or 350 million. Usually what Man City's bench is worth, or reserve players are worth. So that you have to think about this as well. And Man City's 115 charges will always cast a shadow on Pep Guardiola's achievements at Man City. It will always have an asterisk next to the trophies that Man City have won. And only the Man City fans and some media outlets will anonymously praise Pep Guardiola and Manchester City. All the other fans are, saying that Man City's titles don't count because they achieved it cheating. They achieved it against the rules, breaking the rules. While everybody else followed the rules, they were breaking it. And how come that Roman Abramovich had to sell Chelsea? The UK government made him sell Chelsea, but the UK government lets Newcastle be owned by Saudi Arabia. They let the United Arab Emirates own Manchester City. Because of politics, because of the Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates being in bed with the UK government, having huge weapons contracts and huge investment in the UK. That's why I have doubts whether Man City will be properly punished, because if it was just about the sporting aspect and if it was just about upholding the Premier League's integrity and upholding the Premier League's rules, then Man City would have been punished already. Then Man City would be punished very severely. All of their titles must be stripped. I mean, their financial cheating is much bigger than Juventus's was in the Calciopoli scandal in Italy. And Juventus got relegated to the second division of Italian football. Juventus got their titles stripped away from them, and one title got awarded to the second place team in Juventus's first of their 2 seasons, I think, which was awarded to Inter, if I remember correctly. This is in 2005, 2006, so it was a long time ago, but I still remember it quite well. Man City should be relegated. They should get their titles and trophies stripped away by the FA and the Premier League, and they have the power to do so. It's in their rule book. But will the UK government step in and tell the Premier League, you know what, don't punish Man City too harshly because they are a cash cow for us, they bring in so much money, so many sponsors, and also it's a bad look for the Premier League PR-wise if they admit that one of their league-ending clubs have been cheating all along. But most football fans already know, and most football fans will get very upset with the Premier League if they don't punish Man City properly. And there is also the threat of an independent regulator coming in from the government. But I always question that. How independent will that regulator be? And how much the UK government and how much these big contracts by the United Arab Emirates in England, in the UK, how much that will influence the decision, the verdict. How much will the verdict get influenced by politics, by money? And that's the problem with Man City's owners. They have so much money, they can literally buy their way out of almost any legal trouble. Let's see if the Premier League has the guts to properly punish them, because if not, then the Premier League's integrity will be also questioned massively by every rival fan. And let me know what you think about this topic in the comments below. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.